My husband and I have two children, and we put them to bed separately at bedtime. Our youngest is 1 year old and won't go to sleep if she thinks she's missing out on anything, so we always turn off all the lights in the house when we take her to her room for bedtime. It's become a routine for us. Tonight, my husband finished putting our 1 year old to bed before I was done with our 5 year old, so when I finally walked out of her room and into the living room, he was already there. I was surprised to see the bright overhead light was on. We don't usually use this light at night because it's too bright and harsh. It's not part of our normal evening routine at all. Confused, I asked him why he had such a bright light on. His response surprised me even more. He said, "What do you mean? You turned it on." I was taken aback because I knew I hadn't done any such thing. He went on to explain that he had heard me come out of our 5 year old's room and then saw the living room light come on. He said he saw the light up around the door from inside the 1 year old's room. He assumed I had come out to look for something and then gone back to the 5 year old's room by the time he came out. I told him firmly that I had not left our older daughter's room until this very moment. He didn't seem to believe me at first. We talked about it for a few minutes, but he wasn't convinced. To be honest, I wasn't entirely convinced he hadn't absent-mindedly turned it on himself, because I knew for certain it wasn't me. But he insisted he had heard me and seen the light come on from inside our 1 year old's room. He even went so far as to ask our 5 year old if I had left the room during bedtime, and she said no. We live in a small house, just the four of us. There's not much space for mystery or hiding places. Despite how unlikely it seemed, we checked everywhere just to be sure no one was lurking. Of course, we found nothing out of the ordinary. As I pointed out to my husband, it's not like an intruder would turn on a random light and then disappear again. We don't even have a basement or an attic, so there's really nowhere for anyone to hide. If it had just been the light turning on by itself, I might have been more inclined to think something electrical had happened. But my husband claims to have heard me exit the room and walk by just before it turned on, which makes the whole situation even more puzzling. We're both a bit unsettled by this unexplained event. It's not a big thing, but in a small house where we know every sound and movement, it's strange to have something happen that neither of us can explain.
At Mystery Bits, we daily post strange personal encounters from people around the world that defy logic and explanation. Please check out our channel for similar stories.